Teen dating violence is a big problem affecting people in every community across the nation.
A study reports 25% of all 9th and 8th graders are victims of violence.
Only 33% of teens who are in an abusive relationship ever told anyone about the abuse. 81% of parents believe teen dating violence is not an issue or admit they don't know if it's an issue. Though 82% of parents feel confident that they could recognize a sign if their child would experience dating abuse. A majority of parents, 58%, could not correctly identify the warning signs of abuse.
Youth dating often begins between 6th and 12th grade. 72% of 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds are dating. 1 in 10 high school students have been purposely hit, slapped, or physically hurt by their boyfriend or girlfriend.
When I was going through abuse, when I was dating somebody, he was abusive physically and mentally, and I just took it because he kept apologizing, and I was like, yo, I forgive you. And when it comes to abuse, people don't change. An abuser is always an abuser. It's going to keep on happening over and over again. It's a cycle that will keep going on, and it's hard to take yourself out of the situation.
Anyone can make this happen by raising an awareness about the issue, saying something about that abuse when you see it, and organizing your community to make a difference.
Join us in an effort to create awareness. There are many resources available to provide information and support to victims and assist the service providers and communities to decrease the prevalence of dating violence among young people.
Take action!
Take action!
Take action!
Take action!
Take action! Take action!
Blessing unity within community, keeping spirits strong like the elders of long ago. I know we can't go it alone. Don't forget what we own. If we throw away the crown, that which keeps us aligned with the divine source, we're thrown off course by those claiming to be angels unaware, tearing the shirts off their backs while they steady riding yours like a boo hag, sucking up your life force. Know you have a recourse. Ashe, ashe. Discernment keeps us compelled to light. Keep your temple pure to set your spirit aright.
Good evening. This is World Reggae Party Local RE, and my name is Genise White, Goddess Genise. And tonight we have a very special guest, Carlos Walker from the DMV, a budding artist. Good evening, Carlos.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Great.
Great. So we're going to talk about your artwork tonight, and we have at least 12 pieces that we can talk about, but I want to give my audience some background to you. You're from Halifax County, Virginia.
Correct.
The youngest of 6 kids from Hilton and Inez Walker.
Inez Walker, yes.
Yes. And you started your art career when you were 8 years old?
That is correct.
From Mrs. Henderson?
No, Miss Ferguson.
Miss Ferguson had taught you about art, or she looked over your art and said that you were a good artist?
Yeah, she seen a lot of, I guess you could say, she seen the ability to grow when I was younger. So, hey, in between there, a lot of things happened. I went to prison. Started selling. At 24, started selling drugs when I was roughly about 16, and didn't see no career in art.
So, but while you were in prison, you changed your mind about that.
I guess it was a growing stage.
Yeah.
It was more like I like to call it my butterfly stage. You have your caterpillar stage, then you have your cocoon, then now it would be the butterfly stage.
Great. So we're going to start with the questions, but before we do that, let's look at the first 2 pictures here.
Okay.
And can you talk about the first 2 pictures?
Okay, in your first picture, you have the introduction to slavery. Inside my pictures, what I actually do, I reverse the roles of African Americans and Caucasian people. It's basically for an understanding. The name of the project is walk a mile in our shoes, and you'll understand from whence we came.
Yes.
And I've taken it from slavery up until our present moment, through the Jim Crow era, through the entire history of America, dealing with African Americans and Caucasian people. In my first picture, the introduction to slavery, what I done, I say this was Africa.
Okay, let's say.
And what you see here is the Africans or the African Americans capturing the Caucasian people. Pretty much what you
we have,
in
yes.
history. In history, it was the opposite way around. It was the Caucasians capturing the African people.
Yes.
In the second one, what you have is the slave auction, where a slave master is actually selling one of the female slaves. You also see another slave being, I guess you could say,
getting ready to be sold.
He's pretty much touching him, seeing how firm he is,
Mm-hmm.
seeing how strong and masculine the male is. And this is what you got in your second picture.
All right. So next, we have a few questions to ask. And my first question, why art?
Me personally, I think art chose me. I didn't choose it. When I was 8 years old, I was just trying something. I seen one of my cousins, him drawing, and he used to draw X-Men characters.
Okay.
And I tried it one day, and from then on, I've been drawing this all my life.
Mm.
Not really something I chose.
It chose you.
Or God gave me the gift.
Yes. Yes. I understand that because I'm not an artist, but I feel that I have the gift of talking or the gift of gab.
It's an art.
It is an art, yes, and to do it in front of a camera, or behind the camera with radio, it's an art too, because not everybody can do that.
Exactly.
So, what is your background in art?
Well, I have no formal training, other than just myself, self-taught. When I was locked up, I used to just do black and white pencil drawings, and when I was locked up, I seen this guy. He was doing pastel pictures, and I tried it. And since then, I haven't picked up a pencil. I've actually been doing pastel ever since, roughly about 5-6 years ago.
It's in the chalk?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Most people like the oil. They think the chalk pastel is actually real messy, but for me, it actually works a lot better.
Hmm. Very interesting. Okay. Because I would think it would be more messy too.
It can be.
Okay.
But somehow it don't really get messy with me.
Very cool. Very cool. What is your favorite artwork?
I would have to say Jacob Lawrence's The Migration. He has, I can't recall exactly how many pictures was in this project of work, but it depicts a story. And as you can see from my artwork, it's similar to his, but I reversed the roles of our plight.
Right. So this is the one on the left. It looks like maybe the pilgrims or Italians, or they have the slave masters bring out the slaves again.
They're on this picture. They're coming off the boat.
Okay.
And they're just bringing them to America from the introduction to here or throughout that the whole process.
Okay.
You had slaves that actually came from Africa by boat through the Middle Passage and was actually brought onto this land, and this is what the picture is based upon.
Okay.
The next picture is, it's kind of like fast forward. I have 48 pieces to this whole project.
Yes.
So I couldn't bring all 48 pieces. So we're going to kind of fast
That'd be a long show.
Trust me. Hopefully the art show will be very soon.
Yes,
and
yes.
Maybe you'll be able to bring some of your people and you'll be able to see that as well.
Well, that'd be lovely. To bring a field crew in and tape it.
Hey, that would be beautiful.
Yes, it would.
Now, on this picture, what you're seeing is you have the Ku Klux Klan member. He's in the background, which were ex-Confederate soldiers.
Yes.
And you have a hanging. According to what I've read, I think it was 3,000 something actual hangings with between 18, what is it, 1880, 1867 or something like that,
Okay.
all the way up to 1930. So I kind of put that in the bark of the tree. But what this picture shows how a lot of African Americans had been hung.
You said you put it in the bark of the tree?
Exactly.
Ah.
It's like a little sign right there that
Near the
actually
arm?
speak about it.
Near his arm?
No. Yeah,
Oh.
near his arm right
yeah.
there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you pointed that out because I would have never,
Actually seen it.
Yeah.
Unless you close up, you really can't see it.
Yeah. I like that. Very creative. Describe a real life situation that inspired you to do your art.
Is many.
Okay.
When I was locked up, I was incarcerated for 13 years, and I'm gonna say probably roughly about 7 years ago, I was watching the news, and I can't remember when Trayvon Martin died. I think that was 2012.
I think that was 2012.
Then you had a series of incidents that came behind that.
Yes.
Within that time period, I started actually learning African American history, or basically American history. I don't like to just call it that because technically you can't separate the two.
No, you cannot.
So in the midst of it, this actually, I guess you could say, built up something in me. Not hatred, but it was more like, how can I describe the feeling? A feeling of overwhelm.
Okay.
A feeling of looking at our situation and wondering what I could do to make it better. Me, as I just told you, I used to be a drug dealer.
Right.
So I've populated my communities with drugs, and some people actually look at it as a detriment to your community, which
very much
right now,
yeah,
I see it that way. So what I done, what ways can I help build the community?
Or build it up.
Not just our community, but race relationships, get people to understand our plight. So what happened, I actually prayed one day, and God gave me a sight. Walking on the compound in prison, I seen a black officer standing in front of a white inmate, and the white inmate was cutting grass.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a moment. One of the moments a light bulb come on. I asked somebody, I said, hey, do you see this? This could be a black slave master and a white slave.
Yes.
And from there,
the paintings
artwork came.
Yes.
So it was kind of like from seeing all the torture of African Americans and then seeing that, it ran together and you get the artwork. Those were my inspiration.
Yes, yes. What themes do you pursue? And is there going to be any future themes?
I have not just this one. This is just my biggest project,
mm-hmm.
and the one that I guess you could say is the most dear to my heart.
Right.
But I have one called Endangered Species. I took
and the greatest.
And the greatest.
Yes.
I took with Endangered Species. I took African American figures, some prominent beings that we actually know. Our ex-president Barack Obama and his wife. I put them with lion heads, but even those themes, they have a meaning to them. It's more to the nature of, if you see these animals as endangered species, the lion, what else? The gorilla,
tiger,
the Black Panther.
Yeah.
If you see these as endangered species, treat these black humans as the same.
Mm-hmm.
Quit killing them.
Right.
And that was the theme from it. The greatest shows our excellence.
Yes.
I did Muhammad Ali.
Denzel Washington.
I did Denzel Washington, and I did Michael Jordan. And these are some of my themes. And I have another theme called Hunting Season. It shows a white officer killing. He had just killed somebody. You can't really see nothing but the hand and some Skittles.
Okay.
You see his gun smoking, and in the picture, the black people have their hands up.
Right.
They have targets on their head, and in the background or throughout the picture, you have white people just moving along throughout their day, as if nothing
happened. Right.
And my next one, or my future theme, the one I'm pursuing now, It's called Generational Fighters. I have a picture of Nipsey Hussle. I'm pretty sure you've heard of him recently since his death. And I'm doing some other figures that who actually speaking on black youth, on black people's behalf right now.
Well, still Barack and Michelle in many different ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Generational fighters.
Yes. Yes. So we have the picture over here. That's definitely Martin Luther King Jr. and the white version of Rosa Parks.
Correct. There's a historical picture that's based similar to this. It's a picture of Rosa Parks, and there's a white guy who's behind her. Now, I kind of formulated this picture a little different. As you just stated out, Martin Luther King is behind, because you got to remember the polarities of this picture are the opposite.
The opposite, yes.
So you have a white lady sitting in front. You see no whites allowed in front on this bus, and then you have him sitting right behind her. The meaning of it was pretty much what they actually went through.
You're right.
People are in the what was this, 1955, I think it was, when they boycotted the bus.
Yes.
Okay. Back then, African Americans couldn't sit in front of the bus.
No.
They couldn't go in restaurants and eat.
They have to go in the back to
go
anywhere.
out back and get your food.
Yes.
Treated less than human.
Yes.
So I also have a picture where it speaks. It depict that too. However, this is the one I brought because most people know Martin Luther King and they know Rosa Parks' story.
Yes.
So with that picture, that's what you got. Our next picture, it shows our opposition against oppression.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about the Black Panther Party, you know what they believed in.
Yes.
They didn't just believe in just black rights. They believe in
all
equality.
Rights. Yes.
And with that, they was fighters for us, for our people. They introduced, the breakfast program. America still uses it today.
Yeah.
It actually came from them, from their black breakfast program. So once again, in the midst of me showing the oppression, you have to show your opposition or your fight.
Mm-hmm.
I have another picture, and it is based on Malcolm X. And there's a white version of him, but it's me paying tribute to Malcolm X himself. Just like on this picture, I pay contribute to the Black Panther Party, and I also have one about Colin Kaepernick.
Okay. Because I was thinking that was this particular on the right, a little bit about the Taliban, maybe because of the hats or but I know, wrong picture. Sorry, but
most definitely not Taliban.
Okay, all right, that's.
But that's it. You like I said, you have to show your opposition.
Yes, you definitely do.
Because they are part of history, a big part of
history
anyway.
Yes. All right. Next, what is your scariest experience in your artwork?
I guess the scariest experience would be not knowing whether or not your artwork is going to be seen. Now, has that happened? Not yet. But I am on the verge of trying to get my artwork out there because I think my artwork actually has a story that America in itself needs to see.
Yes. Yes.
You can't.
I agree.
People need to have a conversation. The only way to have conversations is that you bring topics up. If you had two groups, something happened in the past, and they never came to the table and talked about it, then their argument, their hatred for one another, continue to move forward.
Continue to grow.
Once somebody with some sense sat down and said, look, let's have a conversation, you can almost iron out your differences or hopefully get to see the difference in one another and maybe get to see the likeness in one another.
The similarities.
There you go.
Yes.
It doesn't always happen, but without conversation, how do you get forward?
Correct. What is your strongest memory of art?
When I was 13, 14, this was probably like, I had a little summer job.
Okay.
And there was this African American guy, probably one of my strongest moments, strongest points. And he was actually having an art show. He gave me a pointer in the midst of it too. In the midst of every one of these pictures, my signature is somewhere in it. Just the CW. Not the whole signature, but my initials. And he gave me that.
So where is it in the one on the left?
That is a good question.
Okay.
Because I done did so many pictures, I can't really just point them out.
Oh, okay.
But it's somewhere in that picture. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Not offhand.
Okay.
But I was actually given that from him.
Okay.
Now
the left one is a courtroom?
It's a courtroom. Up until, I really don't know when black judges and black prosecutors actually started coming in play. But for a long time, most of your courtrooms or our justice system has been unjust to a lot of African American people. If you know anything about the about the prison system, period.
Very unjust.
Very unjust. How do you get 13% of America's population to be the majority
in jail,
in prison?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, it's got to be unjust because you ain't gonna tell me just black people are doing crime. Everybody does crime.
Everybody.
Even when you look at the statistics, it tells you that technically white people do more crime. Maybe not violent crime, but they do a lot more stuff. Okay. What this depicts is our unjust system. You see a whole courtroom is nobody but black people except for the white guy.
Right.
And that, up until a long time, was our justice system. You had all white juries, and they either, when a white person went in there, what they done for a lot of killings, a lot of murders, they released them.
Right.
When a black person went into this court system, you might as well say it was a public hanging.
They go under the jail.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And just depict that system in itself. The picture to the right is, what's the best way I can put it? This is my favorite picture.
Yes, you told me that.
I thought of this picture. I envisioned the picture 6 months before I drew it. But I am a visual person. I have to kind of like get a observation or see something in order to draw it. In this picture, what you see is a white family sitting down at it could be Thanksgiving, it could be in a dinner, it could be a weekend Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
And you got the highlight of the picture, which is the black Jesus that's in the background. Our imagery of Jesus Christ himself has been white.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed. You said the words right out of my mouth.
Yes.
And because of that, people at one point, whomever drew this picture or drew the blonde-haired, blue-eyed picture, what they did, they put a sense of inferiority into the next people, and a sense of superiority in white people, because of God is white. How do I look at myself? I see myself as being less than, and other people, the people who are the same race as this picture, they see themselves as more superior. And because of that, it kind of, what's the word you would look for? Because don't nobody understand or know what color God is or Jesus.
No, for that matter.
One thing I will say is he wasn't white.
No.
You're not going to tell me that
hair of steel wool can't be white.
There you go. Or not even that. In those areas weren't white people. White people, people of less pigmentation were looked at as lepers back then. So to have a white person in an area where darker hued people are, what would you think he would be? He would have been cast away.
Yes.
He would have been looked at as a leper. So when you look at this picture, it's just my parents are what 79 and 76 years old, and pretty much up until God knows when, just Black Jesus may have been in somebody's house. Not they never had a picture of white Jesus. I mean, I said Black Jesus. White Jesus was in elderly people's houses.
Correct.
And just imagine how they felt. This whole depiction of art is actually to bring awareness of how another people's lives were, how they were treated, how they're still treated, because we are still looked at as less than. Unfortunately, throughout the Trump era, you have a lot of not just the Trump era, my bad, but
well, he brought it back.
He brought a lot of stuff back.
He brought it back.
However, even in Obama's era, you had a lot of police that, probably more police than in Trump era, kill black men and women, well, black men than anywhere else. But in his era, the hate came back, or what you didn't know was
the hate came up to the surface. That's what happened.
It was just covert.
Right.
Right now, or let's say, over the last 30, 40 years, it was hidden. They still done it, whether it was through financial, whether it was through you just come bring me your money and we really don't deal with you, period. But it was always there.
Right.
Now it's more blatant.
Right.
Me personally, I'd rather a person tell me how they feel about me than hide how you feel and you shake my hand and stab me in the back.
Right. Yes.
That's more worse to me than it is if you saying how you feel. I know not to deal with you if you feel that way. But if I never know who you are or never know that you feel this way about me, how can I get around it? But
and how can I accept you for a friend if you have so much deception?
There you go. Hey, that's the life we have been taught to live.
Yes.
Back to my parents, they never told me what they had been through. I had to learn mine while I was locked up in prison. I had to learn what they actually had been through looking and reading. A lot of black elderly people don't share their stories.
A lot of them don't.
But if you knew your history, or if we knew our history, there would be a lot of things that wouldn't happen. Because there'd be a lack of trust. If you want to, we wouldn't have so easily took people in. You would have been on guard, opposed to allowing people to mistreat you.
I agree.
Just said, all white people ain't bad either.
No.
However, it seems that there are a magnifying glass that is placed upon them because of everything that goes on, or even the past.
What art do you most identify with?
Jacob Lawrence's art.
Okay.
Like I said, in The Migration, he told a story. He told how African Americans went from the South to the North to get a better life. In his work, I also like Carol Walker's
Any relation?
No.
Okay.
I wish. But she had one of the most controversial artworks, period. That's what she's known for. And I think that's what mine is. My artwork can be controversial.
Okay.
To most people. They look at it and a lot of people cringe because of what they see. Me, I look at our lives, white people and black people's lives, through a different view, I guess.
Because it is our lives.
That's what it is.
Yes.
I'm just telling a story about how America is, past and present.
Now, the Don't Shoot with the little boy. Can you talk about that?
The Hands Up, Don't Shoot roughly started with Michael Brown, because his hands was up and got killed. And they had a big protest in Ferguson. And this is what this is based upon. It's also based upon the Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
I got another picture. This and that one, they kind of like correlate. They go together.
Okay.
You see the police on the other side. You see the citizens on one side. And as we know, to keep it in perspective, black police, white people on the other side. And what it's based on is the Black Lives Matter, the whole organization or the whole structure built upon hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter. But in this and in the book that I wrote too, because I have a book that's based on this whole series.
Yes, you do have a book.
It's called What If.
Yes.
It hasn't been published yet. I'm actually looking for a publisher right now.
Okay. Any publishers out there? So
you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But what I'm trying to do is just basically get our story. Hopefully people will understand what we have been through as a people. The next picture.
Freddie Gray.
Freddie Gray.
Yeah.
As you can see, you have black officers and you have a depiction of Freddie Gray, whom was more than likely in the state that he was in prior to him actually getting in the van. Because if you can remember the imagery that we seen on TV,
yes,
he was practically handicapped
when he went into the van.
When he went to the van.
Yes.
Now, don't nobody talk about that. They talk about the banging around inside the van, but how does a man become immobile before he even get there?
Is it correct?
They was dragging
him into the van. Yeah.
But it only went as far as the van.
Yeah.
A lot of these incidents, police got off, except for what I think was it Michael Slager that dealt with Walter Scott.
Okay.
He's one of the few that actually got time for it.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them, they got off.
They got off.
How? You had 6 officers get off.
Black and white officers.
Black and white officers.
In Freddie Gay's case.
The majority of it actually happened before.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't prove where it happened at, or they say you can't prove where it happened at. The man was paralyzed before he jumped in that van.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, that is what this picture depicts.
Mm-hmm. Because, Baltimore has a very high crime rate, higher than DC's, which DC has a high crime rate. And I used to live in Baltimore, and the police would say, well, we have a very tough job. But it's also a tough job living in Baltimore. If you're not living on Charles Street or St. Paul Street or anything like that, anything past North Avenue or Pennsylvania Avenue is poverty-stricken. And you don't want to walk around there. It doesn't matter, day or night, you really don't want to walk around there. So people living in Baltimore have a hard time being in Baltimore as well.
I guess the main thing would be to find out what people need.
Yes.
If you want to change it, technically, I don't think we need the government or anybody else to actually change our situation. I think we can actually do it ourselves. They actually said we spent $1.2 to $1.3 trillion last year.
I believe that because last week I went to the Congressional Black Caucus.
Mm-hmm.
They started on Wednesday and ended on Sunday, and I just went Friday. And it was a really big event, but it was a lot of money in that place. I mean, smell of money, black money. I had met Michael Eric Dyson, and I talked to Andrea, more like it, Rowan, that used to be CBS news editor and announcer, and Joe Morton from the Brother from Another Planet,
and a lot of people,
and Scandal, and Terminator 3, and all these other TV shows and movies. And there was this congresswoman that I can't remember her name right now, but she said that she used to live in Baltimore and now she lives in the South, and she can do the comparisons between Baltimore and where she lives now. And there was a lot of people from BET there, a lot of people from CNN there, a lot of people from Disney, and it was just black money that you can just walk in there and like, wow, is this what it feels like being, being around all these rich people and talking about how to improve yourself, as well as I was taking the media tips on how to be in media and how to be stronger in media. But if it was a place to be, if you were black,
I'd have loved to have been there.
yeah,
Technically, I don't think we just need the rich black people money. It's more of a uniformity.
right. We need to do for ourselves.
The 1.7, the 1.2 to 1.7 came from all of us.
Right.
It didn't come from just the rich.
Right.
So it's from a bad spending habit, which is also technically is our weakness, but can be our strength. In them, you actually having, in us actually combined having that much money, that's what we spent. That's not what we have.
Right.
That means you have way more. You have more than that.
Right.
Okay. In me saying this, I'm saying this. There's ways that you can create $1 billion in 1 year. Combined. It takes a combination of people, roughly about 5 million people. In order to do so, I have a whole plan. I actually got it from reading The Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad.
Okay.
His economic plan is severe. However, this is fast forward because he was actually talking about using pennies, or because money at that time was a lot
still
less
money.
than what it is.
Yes.
But it's still money.
Yes.
Today you can actually do this, and when I said create $1 billion in a year, I have a plan that actually can do this, but it takes roughly 5 million people. It could take less, but it'd be cheaper on everybody. That's the reason why I say you don't actually need just rich people money.
No.
They can donate the same amount of money as everybody else donate, and you have a base. We've been here in America for 400 years this year, according to 1619.
Right. Yes.
Okay. In saying that, what do we own as a whole? Nothing. We own nothing. Individually, you have millionaires. Oprah and is a guy who I think he got $4.5 billion or something like that. But he's the biggest billionaire that African Americans have.
Okay.
Okay. You have all these individuals, but as a whole, it's still nothing there.
Right.
Until you actually come and work as one, then we still pretty much struggling. When I was telling you about the conformity, pretty much.
Okay.
The 1.2 to 1.7, we in America, at the beginning, at the end of slavery, they said slaves were $4 million. They was America's biggest commodity. Right now, African Americans are still America's biggest commodity. What else make more than 1.2 to 1.7 trillion in America?
Don't know.
I don't either.
No. Okay.
But I do know one thing. This shows how much power you have in your spending. To me, boycotting was his biggest thing. You boycott, you change your own situation.
If you give up a shopping day, which is, they were talking about that so much.
You change your whole situation.
Give up a shop. All of us decide not to shop on
just one day.
One day.
Just one day.
Not a week. One day.
America
it would cripple Wall Street,
this
according
is what I'm
to
trying
them.
To tell you. You could change the whole system. They'd respect you more.
Yeah.
When Gucci did the blackface thing.
They lost a lot of money off of that.
Well, technically, you still got people that are still wearing it. Look at Rick Ross. He wore a whole outfit to the last BET Awards or whatever.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Why would you do this? It's pretty much we have a broken sense of how we should be even treated. The only reason why we are being treated the way we are treated is due to the fact that sometimes we don't care. We have become numb to what they do. Hopefully the pictures are actually bring some awareness to what we should do.
Right.
To move forward, this picture right here is of Eric. Hold on. I gotta think of his name. This is crazy.
Gardner?
Yes.
Okay.
What was happening in this picture? Instead of me showing a white guy choking him out, you see a black officer choking out a white guy. And in the next picture, I don't know how familiar you are with the Texas situation where the white officer threw the black girl
with a
around
string bikini and
her
bikini
at the pool
broke
party.
at the pool. Yeah.
That is what this
16-year-old.
That is what this depicts.
Skinny 16-year-old with a very big policeman.
You had a belligerent officer.
Very much.
Run around, gun out, drawn, pointed at kids, and guess what happened? They allowed him to ease off with his pension.
Mm-hmm.
If it had been a white girl, black officer, what would you have had happen?
He would be in jail.
More than likely.
Yes.
Up under the jail.
I was gonna say, or under the jail.
Might be dead.
Yeah.
You think a white father would have took that?
No. What is your dream project?
I guess you could say this.
Okay.
However, I want to see it actually impact people. I don't want it to. I don't want people to get the wrong understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to get an understanding from it.
Okay.
Like I said, an understanding of what African Americans have went through in general, and whether I'm hoping it changes somebody's mentality, because normally when you read something or when somebody constantly tell you, remember, people learn 3 different ways. They learn visually, auditory, and the last one is through their feelings.
Yes.
Through seeing stuff, sometimes it actually brings a feeling. When somebody constantly, I think it was Robert Greene that actually said it. He has in his book, The 48 Laws of Power, he speak about the mirror effect.
Okay.
This is what this is.
Mm.
He said you can constantly beat somebody's ears down, and pretty much what happens, they stop hearing you.
Right.
Until you actually give them a mirror effect of what they're doing. And I've seen that in real life. Once I can treat you bad, but once I get treated bad, I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of us treating them bad, because I know black people, if you ain't done it by now, more than likely you really ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
So, but I think white people are scared that we are actually going to do some of that nature or do something of this nature.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not what I'm trying to portray. Mm-hmm. I'm only showing their actions through the artwork. Feel what I feel, or not feel what I feel. Get a pinch of what I feel.
Right.
As a whole.
Right.
And then times that by 10,000, and you'll know what black people feel like. Because I'm pretty sure when white people look at this, it just might cringe a little bit.
They might cringe a little bit, yeah.
I've had black people look at this and cringe a little bit.
Yes.
So, it's really just me showing what has been done.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this about Fernando Castile?
That is correct.
Okay.
Like all of the rest of the pictures, you have a black officer killing a white guy. What has happened to us? Matter of fact, let's think about it. The NRA never even spoke about it. Never spoke up for him. He was a gun-toting. I mean, he was legally in his rights. Mm-hmm. They never said nothing about the man.
No.
It's not as if he did anything wrong or anything. I think actually they have scared themselves to death. Technically.
Yeah.
That's like seeing a spider. I don't like spiders. I learned this lesson from seeing a spider.
Okay.
I took one day and I seen some spiders about that big. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about spiders biting people. I've seen bites of spiders. And what happened? First thing I did, I killed it. Spider ain't never did nothing to me. I fear it.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to them? They've heard, they've seen. So what they do, officer can see a person running
Mm-hmm.
Not literally coming after them, but going the opposite way and killing.
Mm-hmm.
But they say they fear. From the media, from the things that they have shown themselves about black people.
Mhm.
Most of the time when you look at the news or anything, you don't hear too much good about black people. Not that I see. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you hear, and what has happened? Their feelings. I feared for my life.
That's the first 4 words that they say. I fear for my 5 words, my life.
How do you fear when a person is running?
Yeah.
It's like impossible.
Or
Yeah.
an unarmed person. Or,
Unarmed.
or a kid.
You never
like
seen anything. Matter of fact,
Tavares Rice.
I have Tamir Rice. I have
Yeah.
a picture that depicts that. Got plenty of pictures that depict over and over kids being smacked in school by by white teachers, all types of artwork.
Mhm.
Hopefully one day we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation about the whole project.
That would be good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's 4 to 8 pieces. Like I said,
Yeah.
maybe it'd be better off in a actual art setting.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully soon. I technically do have an art show I'm supposed to be a part of next month.
Okay.
So hopefully maybe I'll invite you or you can come out to that.
Well, I hope you invite me.
Nah,
So.
you know I'm gonna invite you, but maybe everybody can come.
Okay.
But
Okay. Now, the one on the right.
the one on the right depicts Charlottesville.
Okay.
You familiar with? I forgot the young lady name. Where a young white lady got
Oh.
killed.
I can't remember her name either.
I can't
Heather. Heather.
Is it Heather something?
Heather something.
However, this depicts.
Heather Healy. Is it Healy?
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
I can't recall her last
Okay.
name. But this depicts white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, you see the Nazis, you see the Confederate flag, you see the Confederate statue in the background, and it depicts hate.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get me wrong. I hear them when they say that flag is not about hate. Let's think about the reason why the Confederate flag, what they did, the things they done.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Ku Klux Klan, they were ex-Confederate soldiers.
Soldiers.
So, how does this not produce hate or contribute to hate? But this is what this actually depicts is that history.
Okay.
It depicts a hateful group of people.
Mm-hmm.
How do you hate a people that has never done nothing to you?
Good question. What art research do you use?
To do this project, I
Yes.
actually use history. I've read massive books. I've looked at videos. I did in-depth research. I did 13 years, and pretty much I'm gonna say about 7 to 8 years was just reading books, reading
Okay.
history, learning history, looking at videos of how black people has been treated.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the project that was birthed from it.
Next. Or is that the last?
I think that is it.
Yeah, okay. Should art be funded? And by who?
Yes, art should be funded. I think the government does have grants. I think if we have sponsors, a lot of art could actually be put out there. Swiss Beats is one of the people that I do know that actually love art, and he start trying to help fund people's art. I was just told not too long ago that what he actually started doing was fighting for the rights of artists. If I do a picture for you and you use that picture for something, I should be able to get
You should
get
be able
some
to get
type of
money from it.
rights from my rights.
Right.
And
Intellectual property
Pretty
is what they
much.
call it. Yeah.
even though you buy the picture, kind of like the music.
Right.
So I think art should be funded, and I respect him for what he has done. They are governmental grants, but I think they're hard to get into.
Mhm.
The art world is hard to get into.
Yes.
If you don't know somebody,
If you don't know somebody,
you might just have this stuff sitting at home for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Me personally, I'm doing all I can to try to get this project to the forefront.
So we have a couple more questions. What role does art funding have in society?
Like I said, the government they do certain grants for people, but it's like hard to get into. I think me personally, I'm trying my best to reach out to a few people now. I think the Torpedo Factory, I went down there.
Oh, I love that place.
Yes. I went down there and spoke to a few people. They told me to, apply. So right now I'm into applying to try to display in there. And I think, matter of fact, the government, I think, funds that.
Yes, it does.
I know another lady. She's in D.C. She owns a shop. Is a nonprofit organization. So pretty much, I guess you could say the government is helping that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are government funding or different roles that people actually do to fund artwork. I haven't figured out the avenue to get through yet, but hopefully I will. Hey, even your show, it should be funded.
Yes.
Somebody's
funding it.
Hey, there you go. Hey, and this is art.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I said, being able to, like you said earlier, the people that's behind the cameras, you yourself, all this is art.
Yes.
Hopefully somebody can add it.
Somebody can add.
Sponsor your show.
Yes.
It'd be beautiful, right?
It'd be very beautiful. So, because I'm trying to get into PBS, and you definitely need sponsors for that.
There you go. So hey,
yes.
And like you just did for me, we calling out a shout out for anybody.
Another
who's trying
shout
to
out. Yes, looking for sponsors. Definitely looking for sponsors. Oh, we have one question left. So, is your art funded or sponsored?
Not at this moment.
Okay.
Hopefully, maybe somebody will see this show. If it'll reach out to somebody, maybe they will sponsor it.
Mm-hmm.
So, not at this moment.
Right.
Soon, maybe.
Yes.
If not, you still gotta strap up your boots and
you still got to go out there and
push
trying to sponsor yourself. Well, if you can't sponsor yourself, trying to get somebody to sponsor you, or a group of people to sponsor you.
Once again, we got enough money in our neighborhoods. Hey.
Yes.
Maybe we can all unify and sponsor each other.
Yes. Well, they were saying in the Congress, the caucus, if we would stop buying our Gucci shoes or our iPhone, whatever number, and start really putting money into land and oil, coins, whatever, something other than, shoes.
Something that's wasteless.
Yeah. If we put our money into something that can grow, stocks, land, coins, we would be a lot better economically.
I can believe that. Because you can't sell that other stuff.
No.
You can wear it
and you
out.
cannot buy a new phone every 3 months, 3 to 6 months, buy a new phone. I still have my phone from a year and a half ago. So Samsung. So, but and I'm waiting for it to die before I buy another one.
Hey,
so
I understand.
So was there any other questions or anything that you want to talk about with our time left?
Other than, what did you think about the art?
I love it. I know when I first saw it, I was taken aback a little bit, especially with Sunday Dinner, because Sunday Dinner seems to be my favorite as well. And I know that Philando Castile and Freddie Gray, I saw those images, before, so I knew who they were, like immediately. But I like it. I think it's history that we could touch now, and that we can think about now, and that we can talk about now.
As I stated, gotta have a conversation.
Got to have the conversation.
Can't let it die.
Yes, got to have the conversation. Oh, I wanted to ask you, have you been sending your art to any of the schools in the area?
No.
Okay. That may be a good avenue to work out.
I know once I get this book published, it'll add to it.
Right.
Yeah. But I will take that advice.
Okay. Okay. So, any questions for me?
I really don't have any.
Okay. So, well, we have about 4 minutes left. So, I want to thank you.
Thank you
for coming. Oh, how we met? We met at the Langhorne Wine Festival, and I came out with David, and I always have a bunch of cards out, and it's a reggae festival, so I'm always looking for musical acts and the whatnot. And I saw your dreadlocks and the way you were dressed, and I was like, oh, singer. And you're like, no, artist. And we started a conversation from that. So
I really do appreciate you bringing me on your show.
You're welcome.
It's most definitely different. I had never been on a show.
Well, you act like a pro already, so I think he's trying to take my job. So this is Genise White, and this is World Reggae Party Local RE, where we talk about our local talent here. And Carlos Walker is definitely a local talent. So I want to thank him once again for coming to our show, and hope that he can come back when he has a sponsor or sponsors, or take us to one of the art shows that he's going to go to, or come back and just talk.
I most definitely will.
All right. So stay tuned to my next TV show, which is probably coming up very soon. So I want to say goodbye to everybody listening and looking at the show, and I'll see you next time. This is World Reggae Party, Local RE, and I am Goddess Genise. Good night.